I'm gonna call it, people. I'm gonna call it for what it is, and I'm gonna say this on this channel right here called My Opinions 333. I'm gonna be the first person that's gonna predict this on what's gonna truly happen to Cyraxx. And let me just say this to you, Cyraxx. Somebody out there is gonna put that bag on your head. They're gonna pay some troll out there that say, hey, I want you to go to Cyrax's house and I want you to do this. Depending on how much money they put on your head. But somebody out there is gonna put that bag on your head, Cyraxx, and they is gonna burn down your crib. Yes, they're gonna burn down your crib where you lay your head at, bro. They're gonna burn it down. You're gonna be laying in the bed one day, sleeping, and you're gonna smell something weird. You're gonna smell like something's burning. Like, why does it smell like something burning? And I'm pretty sure that's probably one of your worstest nightmares, Cyraxx. That's probably one of the worstest fears that you have. I ain't never I've never heard you admit that. I mean, you did say that, they was threatening to burn down your crib and everything like that, the place that you sleep at. They was threatening to. You say you saw that. I remember you mentioned about the firefighters came down there or the fire department. But anyway, I heard you did mention that in your videos. And you know what? When I heard you mention that, that was one of your that is your number one fear right there. I mean, yeah, you had your place shot up. You had people using a drone and dropping paint on top of the roof of your house. I remember you mentioned people stole off your property. They busted your grandmother's window vehicle. Um, you got beat up by Marty, Alex, or you call him Big T, came over there, knocked you out. I mean, and a glitter bomb. So many incidents that happened over your house. I mean, you got arrested. Remember that? You got arrested. You came out your house and you swung that baseball bat on this dude that was all masked up on his face. They came to your property protesting, calling you a, you know what, the P word. They called you that. I mean, man, you have been through a lot of humiliations, bro. I mean, you would think somebody that's been humiliated like that on the internet, you would think somebody like that. I totally agree with Marty said. It's like what Marty said a few years ago, man. Cyraxx don't seem to get the embarrassment. He lacked the embarrassment and the shame. Like, he's incapable of feeling embarrassed or feeling shame of the situation that he's been in. If any other normal human being out there would have been just smart enough and just say, "Hey, I'm just gonna stay off the internet for a long time until all this just blow over." And Cyraxx, you've been complaining, saying that you've been going through this for 8 years now. Well, you know what? Had you lay low, had you lay low 7 years ago, and stop addressing the trolls and stop addressing people who did you wrong and everything like that. Had you done that 7 years ago, it all done blew over by now, man. It all done blew over by now. You know what I'm saying? You, Sally, Ed, y'all would have been living pretty peaceful down there had you decide to not get on the internet and address these trolls. It all done blew over right now. William Glory and N-word boy, they most likely probably would have done moved on because they figured that you gave up, you ain't making no more videos. They probably would have done moved on and probably troll somebody else. I mean, no, they wouldn't have forgot you, but they would probably assume in their minds and thinking that you waved the white flag. He's no longer on the internet. We don't really hear from Cyraxx. When 7 years go by and you don't hear from someone for 7 years, I mean, yes, everybody would assume that you pretty much waved the white flag. But in your case, Cyraxx, you haven't done that. Had you done that 7 years ago and let it blow over, you'd have been, like I said, you wouldn't be dealing with this right now. You wouldn't. But I think that is one of his worst fears. And I'm calling it for what it is, people. I'm going to be one of the first people that's going to say this. Somebody's gonna burn down his crib, man. Because you know what, Cyraxx? You just keep pushing it and keep pushing it. And you keep pushing it and you keep talking junk. You made a video wearing a mask on your face. I'm not sure what he had on his forehead though, but it looked like a Naruto headband or something like that. I mean, and you had like a samurai mask on, and you had like some kind of chain or whatever on your head that looked like you stole from Scott Steiner. But anyway, long story short, man, I was reading the comments and everybody just said you just look ridiculous with that mask on, man. And you just talking your junk like always, running your mouth like always. I mean, I watch anime too. I mean, the proof is in my videos. You know what I'm saying? I watch anime, but not like how I used to though. But I'm still an anime fan. But the one thing that you would never see me do, you would never see me wear a Dragon Ball Z uniform, like a Goku uniform. You know, I like Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. You know, you'll see me rock the t-shirts, you'll see me rock the coats or whatever like that, but you'll never see me dress up like Goku or whatever like that, wearing Goku's hair, or I'm not doing all that, you know what I'm saying? You know, so I ain't gonna make no fool out of myself like that, especially for a man my age, but I will wear the t-shirts. I will wear the t-shirts. I will rock the coats or jackets, depending if I like it or not. I mean, some of y'all seen it in my live stream videos and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I ain't gonna push it that far. You're not gonna see me come on here and dress up like Goku or dress up like Piccolo or dress up like Vegeta. You know, I ain't doing all that now. Not a man for my age, no. But in Cyrax's case, I mean, for a 35-year-old man that to be having that kind of stuff. I mean, again, he doesn't have no shame, people. He doesn't feel embarrassed. He doesn't realize he's making a fool out of himself. You know what I'm saying? I can understand if Cyraxx was making this as a comedy skit video, then I would get it. But when you be wearing these ridiculous masks on your face, Cyraxx, it's not no comedy skit. It's you, I don't know, showing your other side of you or whatever. I don't get no heads and tails out of what this dude trying to do. If it was comedy skit, I would understand it. But everybody just like, what is this dude doing? Everybody already know what you look like, bro. I mean, I don't know, man. Ain't no telling what's going through this dude's mind, bro. Ain't no telling. And it's funny that he finally addressed Goblin. He said, "I'm not a goblin," and that's the first time I ever heard him address that. I'm not a goblin. I'm not a goblin. I'm a human being. I just kind of laugh at that, dog. I'm like, dang, he finally addressed that. He finally addressed it in his video, saying so he knows everybody's calling him a goblin. He knows that. But I don't know, people, man. It's I truly believe that's what's gonna happen, man. We all gonna log on YouTube one day, and we all gonna search up Cyrax's name, and we're gonna see the title of the video that Cyrax's crib has been burnt down. I'm telling y'all that right now. I think that's what's gonna happen. I mean, at the end of the day, no one's scared of you, Cyraxx. You ain't no threat. I mean, you still haven't figured that out for 8 years. I've been saying this over and over again. Nobody on the internet is scared of you, bro. No one's afraid of you. If somebody want to knock on your door right now and charge up in there and beat you up, they would do that, bro. That's how much of a less of a threat you are. And you saying that you wants to work, but you can't. You can't work and this and that. Well, you got nobody but to blame yourself, Cyraxx. You know, you put yourself in this hole. You dug yourself a hole so darn freaking deep. And once again, had you stayed off the internet 7 years ago or 8 years ago, you probably would have had a job by now. Had you stayed off the internet and you would have let this all blow over, yeah, you probably would have been able to get a job at the store somewhere. No one probably wouldn't have, because they would have done forgot about you for 8 years. But yeah, you probably could have got a job at McDonald's or Burger King or at a grocery store, bagging groceries or bringing carts in or stocking the shelves, just the basics, you know what I'm saying? Because I know you don't know any more than that kind of stuff. But I don't even think Cyraxx would be able to work because Cyraxx don't seem to understand, when you put in 8 hours a day and work, I don't even think Cyraxx would be able to stand up for 8 hours. I don't think he would. Cyraxx would be complaining, oh, my feet hurt. Yeah, your feet's gonna hurt all right, especially when you stand up all freaking day working. Cyraxx gonna be complaining, I can't stand, my feet hurt. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Cyraxx's body gonna be aching. His whole entire body gonna be aching because Cyraxx's body is not used to standing up for no 8 hours. His body ain't used to it. Because we all know when Cyraxx first start working, if he works at a job like Burger King or McDonald's or a grocery store bagging groceries, he's gonna be complaining about his feet hurting, his leg hurt. They're gonna catch him sitting down. If the manager and them catch your ass sitting down at the job, bro, they're gonna end up firing you. I don't think he's gonna last long at the job, man. That's the thing, though. We all saying that he needs to go out and get a job, but the big question is, how long is he gonna be able to hold a job? And I'm just saying, I'm not gonna count the trolls there. I'm just saying, if he was able to get a job and he didn't have to worry about no trolls or anything calling in to get him fired. Let's say if he didn't have to worry about that. Let's just say if Cyraxx's life was a little bit normal. And let's just say if he chooses to get a job, how long is he gonna last at the job? Not that I'm concerned about it, but I'm just making prediction on how long I think he'll last. Because I think he'll get fired. They'll fire him, man. They'll fire him. They would truly fire him because I don't think Cyraxx would. I think he would have a hard time following direction. I think he would. And what I mean by that, the manager could probably tell him like, okay, Cyraxx, I need you to get this done and get that done. And Cyraxx probably wouldn't be able to comprehend on what the man trying to say. A lot of people at jobs, they're not going to have patience constantly keep repeating themselves to a certain person, especially if you don't freaking get what they're trying to say, especially when they explain to you and tell you what needs to be done. And then you feel like you're unsure of yourself, then they're going to become frustrated and think of a way of trying to get rid of you and say, hey, we got to get rid of this guy. This guy can't catch on. He can't catch on. He works slow and this and that. So that's the big question, though. I don't think Cyraxx would last a month in a job before they decide to let him go because his performance. Because Cyraxx is going to complain about his back hurting. Because if you think about it, people, look how Cyraxx living his life right now. He ain't worked a day in his life. He claimed he's worked at some jobs, but I don't believe him. I don't believe him. Nobody on the internet believes him. He doesn't really show the receipts and saying where he worked at on his past jobs. None of that. For the last 8 years, bro, you ain't worked no damn where. And the proof is in your videos. The proof is in your videos that you had no job. Because how long? Okay, if they hire him, like I said, they hire him, they'll catch him sitting down somewhere. Or they'll just send him home, just saying, okay, go home, bro. Because he's not gonna be able to cut in the job. Because look how he's living his life, people. Look how Cyraxx living his life. He sits down all the time. On his chair, relax. Always fussing with the trolls. He sit around the house. I mean, Cyraxx don't know what real hard work is. He doesn't. He doesn't know what real hard work is. He always bragging, talking about I work hard and this and that. Sitting on your ass 7 days a week, Cyraxx, and arguing with trolls and making some whack music or doing some projects, whatever you claim you're doing. That is not working hard, Cyraxx. That is not working hard. You have no idea what it's like to go out, work, bust your ass, sweat. You don't know what it's like to go out and work and bust your ass. People like me that's got job experience knows what it's like to go out and work and bust our ass. We know what it feels like when we bust our ass and we work. We come home, we be all tired, you know what I'm saying? We watch TV, drink a beer. Cyraxx, you have no idea what that is, bro. You have no idea. You don't know what it feels like to come home from work, feeling tired, say, you know what, I think I'm gonna go to the refrigerator and get me a beer, or, get you, you know what I'm saying, reward yourself for the hard work you've done. You have no clue what that feels like, Cyraxx. You have no clue what it's like to be in that world. And I don't think you would last long in that world. So do us all a favor, Cyraxx. Shut your mouth. Stop sitting here saying that. Stop sitting here lying to everybody, saying that you had a job, you worked at some job at some place, whatever like that. When the last time you worked, Cyraxx? What? When you was in your early 20s? What? When you was like a teenager? When they was paying you what? Paying you 10 or 12 or $20 a day or whatever? What? Paying you, giving you $10 or something like that? What? They pay you $50 for sweeping, raking the yard? I mean, them kind of jobs you had when you was a teenager, Cyraxx? He wouldn't last in a real employment job. He wouldn't last, man, because his body's not used to it. His body's gonna be aching. He's gonna be aching about his back hurting, his feet hurts. I'm not able to do the work. Cyraxx wouldn't last a month before he decides to quit, or they decide to just let him go and just say, hey man, we don't need you no more, man. Your performance is not as good as we thought it was. You know? And you know how stupid Cyraxx is? Even if Cyraxx was to go out, and let's say if Cyraxx decided to put in a job application tomorrow, and let's say if they decide to hire him for an interview. Let's just say Cyraxx put in an application tomorrow, and the next day they call him in for a job interview. Now, just because you have a job interview doesn't mean you're gonna always get hired. But I can see Cyraxx right now going to the interview, and let's say if the manager is unaware of who he is. Okay, they look at him, they might think, okay, this guy might not be all upstairs. That's the first thing they're gonna be doing. But the managers, the people that interview him, they're gonna smile on his face and they're gonna say, Chance, why do you want to work for us? Can you tell us about yourself? You know how that goes in job interviews, people. And this is how stupid Cyraxx is. This is how dumb he is. This is how he's gonna tell on himself. Well, my name's Chance Wilkins, and I'm just looking for a job to help out my grandma and this and that. I don't know if you're aware of me or not, but I'm a YouTuber, and I'm a victim of these trolls coming after me. So they might call this job and might try to get me fired and stuff like that. That's how stupid he is. He would sit there and say something stupid like that in a job interview, especially if the person that's interviewing you is not aware of you and who you are. You're gonna sit there and tell them who you are and tell them what you're going through, and then once you tell them that, they're gonna be like, okay, thank you, Mr. Wilkins, Mr. Chance Wilkins. We'll we'll give you a call, and if we decide to hire you, we'll get a call. And Tyler will be like, thank you. Well, as soon as you walk up out of that goddamn office, they're gonna delete your application off that freaking computer and saying, no, we're not gonna hire that guy. Or they might decide to look you up themselves. Because that's how stupid Cyraxx is. He'll probably tell them that he's a YouTuber, or he'll tell them there's a lot of videos about him on the internet. So even though he should not have said that, if someone made videos about me, if I was all over the internet and everybody had a lot of negative things to say about me, I wouldn't be stupid enough to tell them that. You know what I'm saying? Why would I tell somebody like that in my job interview? But Cyraxx would be that naive to tell those people that there's videos about it. The first thing gonna come across his mind is, I wanted they know who I am. Should I tell them who I am and just be honest with them, or should I just keep it a secret and just let them find out anyway? Let them find out later on them for themselves. He would say that in a job interview, and I'm just assuming. I'm just assuming that he would bring something like that up in the job interview, because they probably be thinking in their mind that they might hire you to bag some groceries or whatever. They might want to have you to clean the toilets or sweep the floors. They might decide to probably hire you, but then when they look you up because you told them that, they'll be like, no, 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 we do not want this guy, man. This guy right here is racist. This guy flashing his penis on social media. This guy is cursing his grandmother out and cussing his stepdad out. Nah, we can't have this guy around around customers, because look how he treated his grandmother and his stepdad, and look how nasty he talks on the internet. This guy is toxic. We can't hire a guy like this, man, because we can't have a guy like this around customers. What if a customer asks him a question and he gets an attitude with them and start cussing at the customers? No, we can't have a guy like that. This guy, right? So yes, Cyraxx, you're right, Cyraxx. Now, one thing I do agree with you on, Cyraxx, is you're right. You're not going to be able to get a job because whoever decide to hire you, whether they are aware of you or not, somebody is going to tell them who you are. You could be working at the grocery store one day, minding your own business, doing what you're being told, and a customer or maybe one of the co-workers in there probably might know who you are. They probably might know who you are, and they're gonna look you up. They're gonna tell the boss about it, and when the boss watches the videos, they're gonna figure a way how to get rid of you and say we can't have you working here. Or Cyraxx probably that dumb to tell people that. Once again, people, let's say if he gets hired full time, let's say if they do hire him, let's say if he start working with these co-workers, Cyraxx will get too comfortable with these co-workers. He'll get too comfortable with them, and then he'll start telling them about what he does in the videos and stuff like that. He'll tell them about himself. And then when they look you up and see that there are tremendous, massive negative videos about you, they're gonna go back and tell the next co-worker and the next and the next. Then they might tell the boss about it. And then when the boss watch the videos and see how disgusting you are in these videos, Cyraxx, yes, they're gonna let you go, bro. And you're going to be very disappointed and you're going to be angry. And you know what he's going to do, people? He's going to get on that camera and he's going to be talking his trash, blaming the trolls, once again saying that it's all y'all's fault. I had me a job and they fired me and this and that. You guys ruined my life. You see, that's why I can't get a job because of this. He's going to get on there and he's going to blame the trolls when he's got nobody but to blame himself. That's how it's all going to end, people. And that's the truth and nothing but the truth, Cyraxx. So anyway, y'all, I'm out. Peace.